Penguin Random House Audio presents Creativity Sucks and 30 Other Things I've Learned While Living a Weird, Amazing, Crazy, Creative Life by Phil Hansen. Read for you by Keith McCarthy. This audiobook contains a downloadable PDF that includes some of the author's illustrations and helpful diagrams and charts from the book. Creativity sucks. And 30 other things I've learned while living a weird, amazing, crazy, creative life. Like the fact that success can kill your creativity, limitations can be good. And if you want to make a living as a creative professional, don't sit around waiting for the perfect moment, because there's never a convenient time to ditch reality and chase your dreams. So skim or listen deeply. Start your journey to explore this path, or go full on and take the giant leap, assured that I too have experienced every up and down of this marvelous, agonizing, exciting life. And I will accompany you, so you're not all alone in this solitary pursuit, to take what's in your imagination and make it your life. Hello. Creativity sucks, but if you're anything like me, you might already know that. The long days, the thought-filled, sleepless nights, the judgment and criticism that may come not only from strangers, not only from loved ones, but also from yourself. And that's not even touching what it's like when you try to earn an income from it. In this book, I'm brutally honest about the hard times I've faced as a professional artist, making a living, a name, and works that have made some people see things in their world differently. Despite the way creative success can often appear to the outside world, some of the moments can be a little dark, a little lonely, and filled with a lot of questions. I found that with support from my loved ones, an ever-thickening skin against critics, and a sometimes foolishly enduring commitment to my passion, I've always managed to make it to the other side stronger, more determined, more adaptable, and often even more skilled than I was before. I know you can relate because we all use creativity. Whether for our job or as a hobby, each of us accesses some level of creativity every single day in fields ranging from engineering and entrepreneurship to the world of art. Primarily, this book is for people who want to express that creativity through art like writing, dancing, music, sculpting, design, cartooning, filmmaking, YouTubing, or photography. But much of the advice here can also be applied across a range of environments. Maybe you're looking for a solution to a problem at your day job. You could be cooking some exotic meal at home. You could even be working on a portrait of Edgar Allan Poe fashioned out of worms. I'll explain. Our generation is embracing creativity like no generation before, and this is amplifying the impact each of us has on the world. It's insane and infectious. On the other hand, it's also a lot to navigate. That's especially true today, in a time when a budding artist can ask themselves, how am I going to live off of my art when sales, views, likes, insert other uncontrollable outcome here, are so subjective but also necessary? If it seems tougher than ever to step up and express your individuality, your observation is on point. But shouldn't you use that fear for fuel? Over the years, as I've spoken with lots of people who do what I do, as well as those who are curious about it, I've picked up on some interesting themes, insights, and rules about the creative life. These pages are filled with those perspectives, along with a few of my oddball opinions, and probably at least one idea that will leave you questioning my sense of reality. Throughout this book, I examine this life through the three main facets I believe any artist should focus on: ideas, motivation, and skills. Then I break the book down into 3 segments that follow the artist's journey. 1. More than the big toe, or what's necessary for you to fully commit yourself to a creative life path. 2. Finding your flow, on establishing a solid everyday routine. 3. Keep on keeping on, or staying motivated and continuing to grow your skills and approach even after you've reached some of your biggest goals. This third part is what a lot of my cohorts and I have had to work the hardest to acquire. The way the world changes is the reason we have to keep creating. As our society grows more and more automated, we all should learn to think more innovatively, more resourcefully, more creatively. Nobody said living an artful life is easy, but I say it's worth your while. Because here's the deal. Bringing creativity into your life is easy. Keeping it, however, is not. On the road ahead are periods of isolation, days spent struggling to come up with ideas, times when your most brilliant execution goes totally underrated, and moments of failure, plain and simple. So, why do we even bother? We choose creativity because it leads to amazing glory, times when ideas will flood through you with an energy that rattles you, times when you'll be lauded for your creative work, and times of magnificent achievement when you'll find you've touched people's lives and transformed how humans think. We choose creativity because, for the true creative person, not sharing what's inside us just doesn't feel like an option. If you're longing to make your creative passion more front and center in your life, I wrote this book to equip you with more perspective, tips, and revelations. Creativity can be a grind, my friends, but that's just part of what makes it so damn beautiful. Phil. Part 1. More than the big toe. 1. Creativity sucks. Several years ago, I found myself totally depressed at what was arguably the highest point in my career. It was a very strange time. To the outside world, I was riding high on success, but on the inside, I was in an emotional gutter. I had just given a TED Talk, starred in a commercial for Mazda that aired throughout Europe, created a commissioned piece for the Rockefeller Foundation that was displayed in the middle of Times Square, and launched an art education startup. If it sounds cool, I suppose it was. Since I was a kid, I'd worked so hard to reach that point, and I'd always expected it would make me incredibly happy. Oddly, it didn't. All the while, I kept waiting for it to set in, that feeling that I'd arrived. Sure, at times it would hit me. Wow, check out my life. But those moments didn't last. Instead, over a period of a few months, I realized I'd never been more depressed. I gained 30 pounds, developed some facial tics, and started drinking so much that it dawned on me that I was becoming an alcoholic. At 34 years old, I'd managed to send my blood pressure through the roof. When you're your own boss, you don't have to call in sick, and one morning when I woke up after a few too many the night before, it occurred to me that I was turning into the stereotypical artist, a deadbeat, depressive drunk. And maybe I was. I was deflated, confused. While I was living what others had labeled the dream, creativity was revealing itself to me like a stranger the morning after a one-night stand. Now that the magic had happened, I was seeing that it also had an ugly side. It was like the part of my identity that I'd always been able to count on, the impulse to create that had made me who I was, had turned on me. At that point, I learned something completely unexpected about a topic I thought I knew a lot about. Creativity has the potential to completely suck. Sucking comes in various forms, like we can't control when our ideas come to us, if they come at all. Our goal may be to create something original, but dang, it seems so hard to be original anymore. When we make a living from our creativity, that often makes us less creative. There is rarely enough time or money to complete our moonshot projects. Even when we spend a ton of effort on something, it still might get tossed. Our ideas could be great, but we may not have the skills to bring them to life. The stress of executing a project can diminish any enjoyment we feel. Dealing with our inner critic and other people's opinions, honestly, really hurts sometimes. Mary Steenburgen says, when you're young, people say to you, you can do anything. Try playing a musical instrument. Try learning a foreign language. And then there's some point where no one says that to you, and then worse, you don't say it to yourself. The creative trajectory is so different from how progress is measured in other fields. When we look at how our society treats the feats that we can quantify, think a career in sports with a high salary, millions of fans, ESPN.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?